90-Day Fiancé, Julia shocks fans with unexpected appearance in the Single Life S5 teaser, sparks divorce rumors. 90-Day Fiancé star Julia Trubkina is making headlines again, but for all the wrong reasons. She shocked the fanbase with her unexpected appearance in the teaser for The Single Life. The Russian native is all set to make her comeback on TV, but viewers are scratching their heads over her marital status. So far, Julia and Brandon are going strong and giving fans all the wholesome updates on their beautiful life. They have likely welcomed their baby and are keeping the news under wraps. The reality TV stars haven't announced the birth of their baby yet. However, Julia's appearance in the teaser for The Single Life has confused everyone. Is she still going strong with Brandon? Did she join the upcoming season as a cast member? 90-Day Fiancé, Julia joins OnlyFans after welcoming baby number 1. 90-Day Fiancé star Julia Trubkina faced many issues with her husband, Brandon Gibbs, due to her go-go dancing career. The latter didn't like her profession and never allowed her to return to work after her wedding. He was furious when he saw her dancing seductively on The Last Resort. However, fans were in disbelief when Julia joined the popular adult platform, OnlyFans. She announced the news on social media by sharing the link to her profile. Fans couldn't believe that Brandon would ever let his wife join the platform. Surprisingly, he also joined the platform, leaving fans confused. The reality TV star also shared the link to his profile to share the news with his followers. Fans were confused about why Julia and Brandon had to join the adult industry, especially after they just embraced parenthood. 90-Day Fiancé, Julia confirms joining new season of The Single Life. Julia Trubkina and Brandon Gibbs faced many challenges over the past few seasons. The former wasn't initially ready to embrace motherhood and opened up about her fertility issues on the show. Fans were rooting for the 90-Day Fiancé stars when they announced their first pregnancy. Julia and Brandon decided to keep their baby's birth low-key after the grand announcement. They haven't confirmed whether the baby arrived. But fans speculated that the reality TV stars were keeping things under wraps because of their NDA. Fans were waiting to see Julia and Brandon's appearance on a new show. But the former left viewers in disbelief when she appeared in the latest trailer for The Single Life. Julia was spotted vacationing with her co-star Sophie Sierra. They were having a lot of fun together. Julia uploaded a post on Facebook to confirm joining the new season. She wrote, "Don't miss the premiere of Single Life on February 9th. Fans were confused in the comments because she is not single and is still married to Brandon. They wondered what she was doing at the singles retreat. However, it turns out the reality TV star would join only as a friend to Sophie, not as an actual cast member. One fan said, "Julia is not on Single Life. Period." Another user also felt the same and noted that the network didn't list her as an actual cast member. The 90-Day Fiancé star is actually very close to Sophie, and they are besties. 90-Day Fiancé, Brandon and Julia moving to another country after getting frustrated with his parents Ron and Betty? 90-Day Fiancé stars Brandon Gibbs and Julia Trubkina have had their fair share of ups and downs since their marriage. The former has always been too dependent on his family, especially his mom, Betty. Hence, it created a lot of issues during the initial years of their marriage. Julia never liked the over-interference of her in-laws, Betty and Ron. She struggled to adjust to them and have a good relationship with them. The reality TV star has been sharing her marital issues with Brandon on Happily Ever After. The latter wants his wife to fulfill her promise for a second opinion from the doctor. Fans are waiting to see how Julia and Brandon will navigate all the challenges. However, the former surprised fans after announcing a major life update. He confirmed that he is moving to Japan with Julia. Is this true? Where are they now? 90-Day Fiancé, Julia frustrated with Betty's stuff in her house. Julia and Brandon had the most wholesome relationship on 90-Day Fiancé. The former initially struggled to adjust to the in-laws because of their extra interference in their lives. She was surprised when her husband gave his mom a key to their house. But the TLC star is not ready to keep her MIL stuff in her house. Julia has been making preparations for the arrival of her parents in America. Hence, she prepared the guest rooms so her mom and dad could live in separate rooms. However, Brandon reminded his wife that they have only one room, as the other one is for his mom. He explained that his parents live an hour away from them, so he keeps a room for them. Julia corrected him and clarified that it was a guest room. She noted Betty won't have a room for herself in her home. 90-day fiancé, Brandon and Julia relocated to Japan. Brandon and Julia have been going through a tough time lately. They lost their precious pet, Simba, and struggled hard to move on from the loss. Julia was trying to recover from the loss when her car was robbed for the second time in America. She admitted to having an emotional breakdown because of the break-in and landed in the hospital. The reality TV star wanted a break from everything and start afresh. Hence, Brandon shared photos of their latest vacation. He surprised fans when he shared his plans to move to Japan permanently. The 90-day fiancé star shared several photos with Julia as they explored the country and their cuisine. Brandon and Julia looked so happy to spend some wholesome time together after a long time. The former wrote, "Moving to Japan. What do you think, Mom?" He had always dreamed of seeing the country, and he was proud of himself for finally making it happen. Fans were surprised by his question. But they feel he was just joking to express how much he loved the country. However, some fans schooled the TLC star for asking Betty for every single thing. They felt Gibbs should learn to stand up for his wife. Most of them were happy to see him and Julia together and having a great time. 90-day fiancé's Julia Trubkina refuses to let fake people derail her from her goals amid huge milestone and Brandon's impressive health update. Julia Trubkina from 90-day, The Last Resort recently shared an Instagram post where she revealed her determination to focus on her life goals and not let fake people hinder her progress. In 2020, she moved from Russia to the United States to marry Brandon Gibbs. Despite facing numerous difficulties, including threats of deportation, losing her green card, and battling deportation, Julia persevered and eventually became an American citizen. She has now successfully launched her own business, which is rapidly gaining popularity. Brandon has also addressed his mental health concerns and dedicated himself to daily workouts. After taking a brief break from social media, Julia has made a strong comeback online. Julia shared an Instagram post with a message directed at two-faced individuals. She posted a carousel of pictures of herself from her trip to Amsterdam, Netherlands, accompanied by a caption stating, "I've faced resentment, injustice, and fake people, but I won't let them derail me from my goals." Although Julia didn't specify the identity of these pretentious people, she acknowledged that some obstacles can be challenging to overcome. She also expressed gratitude for the support of her loved ones, as it provides her with the energy to keep pushing forward. What Julia Trubkina lashing out at fake people means. Julia's anger comes from feeling unsupported. While Julia truly loves Brandon, she has become frustrated with him due to his lack of support in bringing her parents from Russia to the United States. She has agreed to seek a second opinion on her fertility issues from American doctors, but Brandon hasn't shown a willingness to help her reunite with her parents. There is a chance that Julia is criticizing Brandon or his parents, Betty and Ron Gibbs, for their lack of support. Despite making significant compromises to save her marriage with Brandon, Julia feels disappointed by him because he isn't fulfilling his part of the deal. Also possible that Julia is frustrated with trolls who are criticizing her online because of her current appearance during 90-day, The Last Resort Season 2. She has admitted to cheating on Brandon, which many viewers found unacceptable. Julia has also been avoiding intimacy with her husband, leading to her being portrayed as a villain in her storyline. Therefore, it is likely she has received backlash from online users, prompting her to take a break from social media and come back with a message addressing hypocritical people who fail to recognize that she lacks support from her husband or in-laws. Our take on Julia Trubkina claiming she faced resentment and injustice. Julia may have encountered disapproval from Brandon's parents. Julia's recent Instagram post has garnered a lot of support from 90 Day Fiancé fans, but her message lacks clarity about the negative experiences she has encountered. Her co-stars Sophie Sierra and Jasmine Pineda have shown their adoration for her, and there appears to be no evidence of them speaking out against her online. Julia may have faced resentment from Brandon's parents, whom she suspected may only be pretending to love her and have warned her about hurting their son. Hopefully, the next episode of 90 Day, The Last Resort will shed light on her Instagram post. Julia Trubkina's devastating loss abroad leaves 90 Day Fiancé fans heartbroken. After years of public ups and downs with husband Brandon Gibbs, 90 Day Fiancé star Julia Trubkina is opening up about a far more personal heartbreak, the devastating loss of her beloved dog Simba, whom she considered her son. About 5 years ago, Julia moved from Russia to the US on a K-1 visa to marry Brandon. Despite being together for nearly a decade, their relationship has faced serious challenges, including a near divorce that played out on 90 Day, The Last Resort, a spin-off designed to help struggling couples through therapy. By the end of the tell-all, Brandon and Julia were the only couple who officially stayed together, even agreeing to relocate Julia's parents to the US. But in May 2025, they were hit with an unimaginable loss, the death of Simba. While grieving, Julia spent time visiting family in Belgrade, Serbia, notably without Brandon, and shared a touching Instagram story about a dream she had. How Julia Trubkina's beloved dog Simba became her anchor after leaving Russia on 90 Day Fiancé. Moving to America was a massive adjustment for Julia. Trading her fast-paced city life in Russia as a go-go dancer for a quiet farm in Virginia with Brandon and his parents was a dramatic shift. Not only did Julia lose her support system when she moved to America, but she quickly had to adjust to the country life and care for farm animals, which wasn't what she envisioned in her role as an American wife. Luckily though, Julia had her beloved son, Simba, who remained her loyal companion during these challenging times. Even when her husband struggled to connect with her, Simba offered her unconditional support through his calming presence. In the time they were together, Julia cared for her pet as if it were her own son. However, it's likely his absence has added to the voidness in her life and may also contribute to her struggle with maternal love. Julia's dream of protecting Simba may reflect the love and emotion she wishes she had expressed more fully in real life. 90 Day Fiancé star Julia continues to mourn and fans react. In April 2025, Simba was diagnosed with an illness that ultimately led to his death. Though it's been over a month, Julia's grief remains palpable. Simba wasn't just a pet, he was a true friend and constant, unconditional companion with whom she shared a deep emotional bond. Given the couple's ongoing struggle with the decision to have children, Julia's pain is even more understandable. Additionally, traveling out of the country to reconnect with family, but lacking her husband's physical support may have likely contributed to the internal turmoil. In the end, it isn't unusual for people to still dream about people or even their pets after a passing. Her heartfelt post in May about losing Simba prompted a flood of responses from fans. She shared, "Run on the rainbow, my boy. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me. I really hope I was a good mommy for you. The pain I feel cannot be expressed in words or tears. My best, beloved boy, you will always be in my heart. Thank you for being in my life. I don't know what I will do without you. I love you with all my heart, Simba." Fans replied with comments like, "Rip sweet Simba and so sorry. Losing a pet is heartbreaking. Dogs are family." Julia's story struck a chord with many in the 90 Day Fiancé community, as fans shared their own experiences with losing beloved pets. 90 Day Fiancé's Julia reveals if she's still together with Brandon after painful death of son. Julia Trubkina is revealing the current status of her relationship with Brandon Gibbs ahead of the 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9 premiere. Julia is from Russia and has been living in the US since 2020. Julia married Brandon in 90 Day Fiancé Season 8 and detested living with his parents on their farm. It wasn't the only issue in Brandon and Julia's marriage, as later revealed on The Last Resort during couples therapy. Brandon wanted a baby while Julia didn't. He also hadn't forgiven Julia for cheating on him before they married. He refused to let Julia bring her parents to the US. Brandon still seemed unhappy despite therapy, leading to them becoming a part of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. Season 9. Julia and Brandon faced several rough patches even after completing therapy, and Simba's death seemed to have driven them further apart, but Julia's latest update seems positive. Julia shared a selfie on Instagram of her seated in the passenger's seat and wishing her followers a happy 4th of July. Julia's eyes looked like they were welling up with tears, but she maintained a strong front as she posed for the picture. It appears Julia was inside her car with Brandon driving them to meet their friends. Couldn't say no. In her next story, Julia shared a picture of her and Brandon with a couple of their friends. Julia only tagged Brandon in the story and not the friends. However, she wrote that this was her first time witnessing fireworks on the 4th of July. She added that her friends were insisting she go, and Julia couldn't say no. Brandon appeared happy and smiling in the picture. What Julia confirming relationship status with Brandon means. Julia and Brandon have confirmed their return to new show. In June 2025, Julia and Brandon shared updates about their roles in the upcoming season. Julia posted a photo of the two, hinting that their storyline was kept under wraps due to its drama and secrecy, which is why they were excluded from the trailer. She stressed that she was going to give no spoilers about their story or what they went through. Julia and Brandon were announced as a couple for the upcoming 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9, but they weren't a part of the trailer. This fact may have confused fans, and probably even made them wonder if Julia and Brandon were removed from the season. However, Julia confirming she's in the season with Brandon and now revealing they're still together, changes things. Julia lost her dog Simba to a stroke in May 2025, and she's having a difficult time moving on. Brandon has shown little concern towards her feelings on social media, but in real life, it appears that Brandon is doing everything to keep his wife happy. His accompanying Julia to watch the fireworks speaks volumes about the nature of their marriage. Our take on what happens with Brandon and Julia on Happily Ever After? Brandon teased emotional new chapter on Happily Ever After Season 9. Brandon has built anticipation for the 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? By posting the official promotional poster, teasing that their story is far from over. He hinted that fans could expect their most personal and emotional chapter yet. However, even if Julia and Brandon face some of their toughest challenges this season, it's clear that everything ultimately falls into place for them. 90 Day Fiancé's Julia Trubkina reveals heartbreaking life update after continuing to mourn son. 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Star Julia Trubkina revealed painful news about her life after losing her only son. She began her journey as a reality TV star during 90 Day Fiancé Season 8. Julia moved from Russia to a small town in Virginia to marry Brandon Gibbs. She was disappointed about having to live with Brandon's parents on their farm. Meanwhile, Brandon had not forgiven Julia for cheating on him when they were on a break. Julia not wanting a baby also upset him. He didn't want Julia to bring her parents to the US either. After trying to undergo couples therapy for their issues on the last resort, Julia and Brandon will be seen in 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9 next. Julia has finally announced she's a part of the spin-off and, while teasing her season, shared a bittersweet memory. Julia shared an Instagram album post captioned, "No spoilers about our story, what we shared with you and what we went through," and added that what fans were going to watch was reality TV. In the carousel, one picture showed Julia and Brandon engaged in a serious conversation with cameras filming them in the living room and their dogs lying at their feet. One of Julia's followers, @Fiancé, said, "The dog chilling with the cameraman. He just wants to be part of the journey." Julia replied to the fans' well-meaning comment with, "He was always next to me. This will be so hard to watch." The fan had not realized that the dog was Julia's son, Simba, who passed away from a sudden stroke. What it means for Julia Trubkina to watch Happily Ever After Season 9. Brandon and Julia's rocky marriage is tested after Simba's death. Julia and Brandon seem to have filmed Happily Ever After Season 9 sometime last year, before Simba passed away in May 2025. Julia adopted Simba, a German shepherd, from her husband Brandon's family farm and lovingly referred to him as her son. In April 2025, Simba suffered a sudden stroke, losing mobility and appetite. Vets even recommended euthanasia, but Julia and Brandon refused to give up. They cared for him around the clock. They carried him outside, assisting him with meals and mobility, and, miraculously, Simba began to improve. He regained strength and prepared for a second surgery. Sadly, Simba's health declined, leading to his untimely death. It appears Simba and Julia's other dog, Nala, filmed extensively for Happily Ever After Season 9. Julia and Brandon's relationship was on the rocks despite their couple's therapy sessions. Brandon did not appreciate Julia filing her parents' visa documentation behind his back. He was still not over the cheating incident and treated his wife unfairly. Simba and Nala were Julia's only companions as she navigated the difficult marriage. Julia's refusal to give spoilers about the season might indicate things are about to get worse. Our take on Julia's son being featured in Happily Ever After Season 9. Julia is heartbroken over loss of beloved dog Simba. Simba was Julia's first friend when she came to America and had been with her through thick and thin. Julia has faced several highs and lows in the last 5 years, but losing Simba was something she never